हेलो स्टूडेंट्स। आज हम जो टॉपिक पढ़ने जा रहे हैं एमएससी फाइनल के अंदर वो है पैथोजेनेसिस। पैथोजेनेसिस जो होता है वो क्या होता है कि होस्ट और पैरासाइट्स के मध्य जो इंटरेक्शन होता है और इस डेवलपमेंट तक जो है वो जो इवेंट्स होती हैं उनकी एक चेन रिएक्शंस होती हैं। उन्हीं चेन रिएक्शंस को जिनके द्वारा होस्ट पैरासाइट इंटरेक्शन होता है और डिजीज़ डेवलपमेंट होता है उसको पैथोजेनेसिस कहते हैं। तो पैथोजेनेसिस पढ़ने से पहले हमें कुछ चीज़ें मालूम होना चाहिए जो कि आपको पहले भी कई बार बता दी हैं और पता है शायद आपको। अब पैरासाइट क्या होता है और पैरासिटिज्म क्या होता है। तो एनी ऑर्गेनिज्म विच लिव्स on or in some other organisms and obtain food from the later is called a parasite. The relationship between the parasite and the host is known as parasitism. Now I think you must be knowing what is parasite and what is the parasitism. The parasitism is intimately associated with pathogenicity as establishment of parasites normally results in development of diseased condition in the host. A disease develop as a result of host parasite interactions. The relationship between the host and a parasite is not mostly or merely a physical contact. There is a many biochemical and physiological processes are also there between the two. For the convenience of study, host parasite interactions can be divided into three parts. The first part, which we are going to study today, is pathogenesis, and second part is the defense mechanisms, and third is the variability in the parasite and the host. The some part of the defense mechanisms and variability we have already studied, and the first part, the pathogenesis, we are discussing today. The whole subject of the pathogenesis can be divided into three parts. Pathogenesis means events of the development of any disease which takes place for the development of any disease are known as pathogenesis. Pre-penetration activities. Number one is the events takes place during the pathogenesis. Number one is the pre-penetration. Number two is the penetration, and the last is the post-penetration. Before the entering into the host, the activities takes place are known as pre-penetration activities like germination of the spores, seeds, hatching of eggs, growth of the resultant structures, germ tubes, etc. are comes under the pre-penetrating activities. So here we can say pathogenesis is directly related to the disease development, or the events takes place during the development of the disease. For any disease development, we must have to learn the pathogenesis process. Now we shall understand what is the pathogenesis. Now we will discuss in its various headings. The number one is the pre-penetration activities. The phase includes the, as I told you earlier, the growth of the pathogen before its actual entry. Its actual entry into the pathogens are known as the pre-penetration activities. So the pre-penetration number one in this pre-penetration activities we can study spore or seed germination. Seeds or of parasites of higher plants and fungal spores must first germinate before entering in the host. They require what they require? They require favorable environmental conditions like temperature, moisture, rainfall, etc., humidity, etc. In spores of fungi, this occurs in different ways. The spores may be resting spore, or it may be asexual spore, or it may be sexual spore. The spores may be resting spores. As you know, we have studied we have studied fungi, different classes of fungi in our earlier previous class. Now we know which kind of resting spores are there in fungi. Chlamydospores form in asexual reproduction, or sexual spores like oospores, arthrospores, resting sporangia, thin-walled spores, etc. Successful spore germination, besides physical conditions like temperature and moisture, also largely affected by the biological factors. The biological factors include the chemical substances secreted by the plant surface on the plant surface, and we call them biological factors, and other microorganism presents near the plant surface. Plant exudates may extend a stimulatory or inhibitory effect on germination. So, the exudates of the host or the nearby organisms may be stimulate the development of the or germination of the spores, or it may uh, stop the germination of the spores. The non-parasitic microorganisms in the rhizosphere as well as phyllosphere also influence spore germination. What is the rhizosphere? Organisms or environment around the root is known as rhizosphere, or around the upper aerial parts are known as phyllospheres. They also influence the spore germination. Now we have discussed the various factors for the germination of the spores, how spores prepare itself for the germination, and what conditions it require for the germination. Rhizosphere is the zone of soil around living roots, as I told you earlier. Root exudates may contain sugars and amino acids which serve as nutrients for rhizosphere microorganisms. Thus, it is beneficial for the microorganisms because they get nutrients from this exudate. Chemicals secreted in rhizosphere by root may stimulate or inhibit germination of spores. For instance, oospore of Pythium around turnip root, Sclerotia of Sclerotium rolfasi around alfalfa roots, and spores of Plasmodiophora brassicae, Urosystis triticei, Fusarium are stimulated to germinate by root exudates of their host. So, these root exudates are very important pre-penetration factors for the germination of the spores around of the pathogen around the roots. Now we will talk about phyllosphere is the leaf surface. As I told you earlier, uh, the leaf surface and immediate adjacent area colonized by a variety of non-parasitic organisms. There may be parasitic organism or non-parasitic organisms. Many of these phyllosphere microbes are antagonistic, inhibiting spore germination. Antagonistic means which inhibit or which adversely affect the germination of the spores. Leaf exudates also may contain inhibitory substance, as I told you. Thus, leaf itself may contain some inhibitory substances. Orange peel and outer skin of onion and potato reduce spore germination. Waxy leaf surface of apple and other plants contain inhibitory substances that inhibit germination of spores of Podosphaera, botrytis. Malic acid secreted by leaves of resistant varieties of gram inhibit germination of spores of Mycosphaerella. Leaf exudates of and Phyllosphere microflora appear to have relatively less effect on pathogens. Growth of germ tubes. Before we discuss the growth of germ tubes, I want to discuss the previous paragraph which I told you. We had seen that leaf rhizosphere exudates and phyllosphere exudates have either positive or negative effect on the spore germinations. It is depends totally on the exudates or partially on the total exudates of the roots and leaves, whether spores or seeds will germinate or they do not germinate. After the germination, how the growth of the germ tube takes place. The chemicals stimulate or inhibited the growth of germ tube also. Like germination of seeds or spores, chemicals also affect the growth of the germ tubes. They are more pronounced in rhizosphere than in phyllosphere because the leaf cuticle reduces exudation and rain removes shoot exudates. The formation of germ tubes is affected by environmental factors and plant susceptibility. It also affected by the susceptibility of the plant, whether plant is susceptible or it is not susceptible for the pathogen or the environmental conditions. If the environmental factors will be favorable, then only the spore germ tubes or spore germination or growth of the germ tubes takes place. Thus, we had seen the growth of the germ tubes not only depends upon phyllosphere, rhizosphere, it also depends upon environmental factors, plants, and susceptibility of the host. In different cases, they enter through wounds, natural openings, or directly through intact surface of the host, often forming aprisoria. The growth of germ tubes and subsequent aprisorium formation are influenced, besides other factors, by chemicals of host origin. After the growth of the germ tube, it forms some other structural modifications to enter in the host through its natural openings or through wounds or some other parts of the host. To these structural modifications are also influenced by the chemical factors of the host or the surrounding environment. Thus, spore germination and growth of germ tube and formation of aprosorium are complex and influenced not only by environment but also by the nature of the plant surface, by substance secreted by host, and by other microorganisms present in the rhizosphere and phyllosphere. This we have studied in pre-penetration activities from spore or seed germination up to the growth of the germ tubes and aprisorium formation. This is for the mainly for the fungi. In nematodes, also eggs require favorable temperature. Nematodes hatches eggs, or some nematodes also can enter directly through the natural openings or through the cuticle. Nematodes also requires favorable temperature and moisture to become activated and to hatch eggs. The Thus, the environmental conditions is also important for the nematodes. The egg contains mostly the first juvenile stage. Before or soon after the egg is laid, the juvenile immediately undergoes a molt and give rise to the second juvenile state and may remain dominant in the egg for varying periods. Thus, when the egg finally hatches, it is the second stage juvenile that emerges. It may penetrate host or may undergo additional molds. Nematodes are in close proximity in plants. They are attached to roots by certain chemicals or attracted by roots by certain chemical factors associated with root. Partially carbon dioxide and some amino acids are very important for the uh, attraction of nematodes to the roots. These factors diffuse through soil and attract nematodes. In this paragraph, we have studied how nematodes prepare themselves to enter in the host. First, we had seen the environmental conditions, favorable temperature and moisture is required. Why it is required? Because it supports the hatching of the activate the hatching. And formation of the eggs takes place. The eggs are the first juvenile stage. Soon the eggs are hatched from the nematode. They enter in the molting and second juvenile stage. Then they penetrate the host and undergo additional molds. The attraction of the nematodes to the roots and the hatching of the eggs of the nematodes, molting of the nematodes, all these affected by the chemicals or environment in the proximity of the plants to which nematodes are going to penetrate. Thus, nematodes prepare themselves before penetration. The third stage in the pre-penetration is the attachment of the pathogen to the host. In 2 points, we have studied how pathogen or spores germinate, how germ tubes grow, or how nematodes prepare themselves before attachment of pathogen to the host. Pathogens such as viruses, bacteria, protozoa are placed directly into the plants by their vectors. How they attach themselves? Through their vectors. They attach directly. Viruses, bacteria, protozoa attach themselves directly through their vectors. They are probably surrounded by cytoplasmic membrane. They are surrounded by the cytoplasmic membrane. On the other hand, almost all fungi like bacteria and parasitic hive plants are first brought into contact with the external surface of plant parts. Before penetration, they must first become attached to the host surface. The propagules of these pathogens have some mucilaginous substance on their surface or their tips. With the help of these mucilaginous substances, they can attach themselves to the outer surface of the host. These mucilaginous substances consist of mixture of polysaccharides, glycoproteins and fibrillar materials which when moistened become sticky and help the pathogen to adhere the plant surface. Thus, we had studied how plant pathogens attach themselves to the host surface, how fungi and bacteria attach themselves, and or how viruses or some bacteria and other molecules attaches themselves. So the bacteria and some bacteria, all the viruses attaches themselves to the host with the help of their vectors, whereas fungal spores have and some and bacterial pathogens attaches themselves to the host surface with the help of mucilaginous substances which we have studied. After the attachment to the host surface, the next step is recognition between the host and the pathogen, whether host is recognizing the pathogen or it is not recognizing the pathogen. If it recognizes the pathogen, then only the host allows the pathogen to enter inside the host. It is still not clear as how pathogens and their host recognize each other. But this process is not clear. It is assumed that when a pathogen comes in contact with a host cell, an early event takes place that triggers a fairly rapid response in each organism that either follows or impedes further growth of the pathogen and development of disease. The nature of this event is not known with certainty, but it is known that many biochemical substances and pathways take place in whole of this process. This may include specific host signal compounds, specific pathogen elicitors, etc. for the recognition processes. Host components which act as signals are many and may include fatty acids of the cuticle, cutinase or many enzymes, many toxic materials secreted by the host and the pathogens, which we have studied earlier in our enzymes and toxins in plant pathology parts. Thus, we have studied how what are the pre-penetration activities for the pathogenesis process. Next class we will study the penetration process.